Jasmine. Today is Saturday, December 16th, and we are out here taking advantage of this beautiful weather today, which is right now in the high 40s, low 50-degree temperatures Fahrenheit. But the backyard is a microclimate, so right now it feels like it's around 60 degrees. It's really very beautiful. So even though we committed to taking a break in December, we're taking advantage of this wonderful, beautiful weather here today, and we are expanding our backyard garden with some new raised beds in order to get things more uniform and not so cluttered. So let's go take a walk back and see what Farmer John's up to. So hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Leigh and you'll be seeing Farmer John. I like to remind everyone that we are in northwestern Burlington County, New Jersey. We are suburban gardeners, and right now it's a hot topic what zone you're in. So we're in zone 7A. This morning everything had a light freeze on it, and just now, since the microclimate changes here in this part of the yard, we have some soil freezing happening. And as Farmer John is trying to get these beds leveled out and spaced properly, he hit some frozen soil, it's kind of strange to be in this space where we have frozen soil, and then we just step literally 18 inches away and this soil is beautiful and loose to work with. So for those of you who know our garden well and feel as if you are in here walking around with us, you will guess, where we are. So in the distance back there is our cornfield, and now our beautiful Napa Cabbage bed, I'm going to make some Napa Cabbage today, so I'll be taking you in with me to show you what that looks like. But for now, I'm going to show you what it is that we're planning to get done today. So now again, for those of you who don't really know our space very well, you can see that we have a series of raised beds here that are placed at an angle. And in the summertime, we get full sun back here. So it's really wonderful. And this is primarily where we grow our peppers and some tomatoes and paste, tomato sauce and tomato paste tomatoes. And this is our main slicing bed area, which we built up with cinder blocks or concrete blocks. And over here we used pressure treated timbers and some boulders as our end caps. Now I'm telling you this for the purposes of using your imagination to try to organize your garden in a way that retains your soil, because we've learned that that's very important. So basically what we like to do is separate our beds here at an angle, because you do get more beds that way. And so 24 inches from post to post, and then the top angle varies depending on what side you're on. So like for instance, we end this one at about 24 inches from the back fence, so we have foot clearance. And then this one is angled at about 4 or 5 feet. So it creates your cut here. So right now we have an old level that we're using just because it's a 2-foot level. So we're establishing our spacing, and these beds will all line up perfectly. And we will be using probably boulders or old pavers to establish our end caps on these. You can really use anything, but now you see, here's where the visual comes in at. So John, you see how you're turning the beds visually towards that way? Whereas those beds over there are established at around 2 feet away from the back fence, was what I was just saying. So these beds will need to come back towards the fence. So let's establish our set point, because right now if we leave them this way, those beds will be in the walkway, and we're not trying to turn this at some circle. And you can make your garden however you'd like, but we're trying to do this so we're lined up straight from side to side in the garden. So let's work on that. I brought you back here to where my leeks are growing, so because the drill is quite noisy. So in order to get through the depth of that timber, it takes a little bit of work to go through the wood, and that timber is fairly aged. It's been sitting as a border between our main lawn and this pea gravel area for several years now. It was always intended to be the sides for a raised bed, but we just never got around to it, and they kind of just landed there, and life went on, and before we knew it, here we are a few years later. So now I'm so happy to get this garden organized because it's very critical. So anyway, while he's back there doing that, I am going to harvest some leeks. I'm going to take you in the kitchen with me real quick and show you my Napa cabbage that we harvested, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Napa cabbage will hold up for months in the refrigerator. So we're going to have today Napa cabbage with portobello mushrooms, leeks, and 2 types of onions. I'm going to cook it in a carbon steel wok, and we're going to have very fragrant jasmine rice with that I'll cook with my own vegetable stock. And also I'll add some garlic to this and a little bit of ginger, fresh ginger. And then on the side, I'm going to make an egg that I'll be adding in for our protein because we are vegetarian, for those of you who don't know. So let's see which leek is the best, and we're going to get started on that all while I run in and out to help support Farmer John with this project and kitchen duty and bird duty. So yay me, here we go. It's interesting how leeks grow. They kind of remind me of like a daylily or like a gladiola almost. So I think I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy here. Needs 2 hands. Hang on. All right. So here's my first leek. I'm going to take it in the house and get it all cleaned up and prepped for carbon steel wok stir fry. All right. So just come in, and I just wanted to show you how I'm storing this. Look, did you? Someone's probably saying, Leigh, you didn't harvest that. You bought that from the grocery store. And quite frankly, if I didn't do this myself, I would have never known. This is the 1 kilo slow bolt Napa cabbage from Botanical Interest that I was telling you about. So I grabbed these bags because we're vegetarian, so I'm forever grabbing these bags from Wegmans to get my fresh produce in. So I save them for times like this because from what I researched, you can store your Napa cabbage for months in an airtight bag like this in the crisper bin. So let's take it out. I need 2 hands, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. All right, so, you know, I don't wash this before I put it away, but a lot of these black marks are to be expected if you're storing cabbage. And you can see there was pest pressure here, so as I peel this down, I won't be eating these outer leaves. And when you harvest these, you go through a massive amount of big, giant, inedible leaves. My head's upside down. So I'm going to peel these away, look for pest pressure, and there's probably going to be a big fat worm in here. And you guys, if you're vegetarians, I want you to know, you know, if you're organic gardeners and you're eating this stuff, it's highly probable there's going to be a worm in there. For those of you who don't know where your food comes from, yeah, the pests in the garden want to eat your food because it's wonderful. So you can anticipate that there were bugs in your food at some point, unless they were heavily covered in chemicals. This has no chemicals, so I anticipate there's going to be some bugs. Wow, look at the inside of this beautiful cabbage. And here's the part of the leek that I'm going to be using. And I've just cut away all of those green bits and the root on the stem. And I will continue to go through this cabbage in sections because I can see that there's probably a worm in there somewhere, but it's okay. You know, and sometimes I'm realizing that there may have been a wormhole, but that was just enough for some moisture to get in, or maybe a slug or something. So I'm going to clean each leaf and get it ready to be soaked, drained, and then I'll chop it for the stir fry after I do a second chill of it. Gosh, does this happen to you? I get so stressed out because I'm running in and out with the project that's going on in the back. I'm trying to clean food, make other food. My day is consumed with food. I have the birds in there that want to come out, so it's like a little stressful. So this was not actually meant to be a cooking tutorial in any way, but I just wanted to show you while I had the opportunity what was happening with the leek and the Napa cabbage. So I will show you this recipe after it's fully cooked, but for now I'm just going to give you quick insights into it as you know, a day in my life as I work back to manage that project. So he's setting 2 of the timbers right now, so I'm literally running in and out, and here he's calling for me again. Here I go. But this cabbage turned out to be really, really clean. It looked like just some of this debris that comes out of it is just because it had pest pressure. So it left little holes in it. So there were no worms in it though. Now this right here, you can eat this raw. It's very sweet and very, very crunchy, really delicious. So right here, I have cleaned all of the tops off of my leek and I'm just soaking these sections. Now I'll give it a clean rinse and another soak of fresh water and then I'll start chopping it down. So this is all getting prepped as I run in and out of the house.
All right, quick run back. All right, got my leeks soaking, I've got rice soaking. Let's see. All right, so we can see what it's going to be, you guys. So you see, this is the beginning of making your raised beds. You can see how we offset the two different posts at different angles so that they'll line up at an angle. You just got to keep a common measurement, and it's really very, very simple to do. But this area is on its way to being organized.
Put down the soil.
Okay, so John got these. We managed to only get 3 beds in here. We thought it was going to be 4, but once you count in the, truly measured distances for walk space, like this here is going to be the walkway, and I had some Napa cabbages already growing here. So it's like bed, walkway, and then it continues all the way down. So now these guys are going to line up to all of this for the most part. It's not perfect, but it's going to be much more manageable for us once, with the soil and retention, because this is on a swale. So anyway, this project is not going to get finished up today. We'll be touching base. If you want to see the finished project, you're going to have to subscribe to our channel, please. So we're just using landscape timber nails with heads on them to drive these down into the ground. They're substantially cheaper than rebar, and they're just more stable. Yeah, so those pins are galvanized metal, and with the nice head on there, it's easier to control how you're driving them down. They don't rust out. They have that nice pointed tip like a true nail does, and they stay better. We've done rebar through the years, and we just found that rebar bends out and it rusts and all of that stuff. But anyway, so like I said, you guys, if you're going to want to see that finished project, by the way, some of you haven't seen this yet. Our last video, it was in the process of rolling out to the audience and it got deleted. We don't really know what happened with it. We figured we'd just let it go. If any of you have not seen that video and you're interested in seeing some of the progress of this DIY patio that we did, we'll consider reloading it. But from a content creator's perspective, it's not really in our best interest, which is why we haven't reloaded it. Totally sidetracked. Anyway, so please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Now what I'm going to do before I let you go is I'm going to show you my finished project of a meal that I'm trying to make, all while I'm running back and forth with that and letting the birds come out because it's in the 50s. Mr. Buddy, we got to make sure these guys get their, where's the green one? Over there. Got to make sure they get their share of fresh air and sunshine on days like this, because I have a feeling, you guys, this is going to be it. I have a feeling our projects are about to come to an abrupt ending. But I mean, after all, it is halfway through December and we should be resting, because I said that I was going to take off December, January, and February. But right now I'm going to be grateful if I can have a few days in January and maybe take off February, because I decided that I'm going to plant some stuff early so I can get it outside. Round robin project. So let's go in and see what's happening with our Napa cabbage and portobello mushroom and leeks in the stir fry in the carbon steel wok. So my vegetable stock and my jasmine rice is getting ready to come to a boil in this pot. So there's some successes to rice that I want to tell you about while this is getting ready to boil. A quick tip on jasmine rice is that usually the cooking rate is 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water, but jasmine rice cooks best at around 1.5 to 1 3/4 of a cup of water to 1 cup of rice. Now, if you have 2 even cups of stock that you don't want to waste, simply add 2 tablespoons of rice. So it would be 2 cups of stock,
1 cup of rice plus 2 tablespoons of rice. So that extra rice will compensate for the extra fluid, because whenever you add extra fluid, especially with something like rice or farro or bulgur wheat, you want to make sure that you have a proper balance. And also is to properly seal your pot. Now, I don't cook in a rice cooker or a pressure cooker. I know how to cook rice stovetop. I can cook Indian rice. I do a lot of stuff with brown basmati. Like I said, I can cook farro and bulgur and all of that. It's always cooked to perfection. So the thing is, putting foil over your pot before you put your lid on and sealing it tight and turning that heat all the way down low, 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 and you cannot touch it. You cannot touch it until it is done cooking. For jasmine rice, it's 12 to 15 minutes. And you'll know by listening to the sound whether or not there's still water in there. Now, there's chances of cooking, you're gonna get something under the bottom that the Spanish refer to as con, which means the rice is starting to stick to the bottom of the pot and it gets a little brown, but it's really very delicious and it's okay. But with sticky rice like this, with the jasmine rice, if you have the right portion of water or stock or whatever you're cooking with, it will, you know, you want to get it off the heat at the right amount of time. So let's get the foil on and get the lid on because it's starting to boil. Okay, watch. So I reduced my heat all the way down. I used, since the foil I had my stock frozen with, so I'm pushing that down real nice and tight. Now I'm going to use mitts for this, but I'm going to then wrap the overlay around the sides of the pot so no steam can escape. So this is how you properly steam rice. All right, so I'm getting ready to heat up my carbon steel wok, and I wanted to show you what I have on my chopping board. This is freshly chopped garlic, freshly cut ginger. This is the white part of the Napa, which you'll see here. I want to remove this tougher ribbed portion away from the leafy greens, and we're going to chop the leafy greens and add them last, but I wanted you to see. So they chop up almost like celery. This is the fresh leek that I just harvested. So look, you guys, I have fresh Napa cabbage and fresh leeks from our garden, which is just amazing. I have your basic cooking onion and 1 sweet Vidalia onion in here. I am going to eliminate these little green inner parts because they can be a little bit bitter. I personally don't care for that portion. And then over here I have cleaned, dried, I take out all of the scale from the inside of the portobellos, and then I peel their outer shell off and I wash them because mushrooms can be very, very dirty. So the order in which I'll be throwing this into the wok will be oil, some red pepper flake, the garlic and the ginger, and then my crunch here, my onions, then my leeks, and my Napa. The mushrooms will go in a few minutes later, and then the greens of the Napa will go in last. So let's get cooking.